Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of those from wherever you are in the world. My name is Ravi Krishnan. I head the sales engineering here at Nexla. Today, we are going to be talking about how companies have successfully deployed their first GenAI projects and some of the common challenges that enterprises face today and how Nexla can enable them to solve those problems and accelerate their GenAI projects into production. So with that, a little bit of introduction of Nexla as to who we are. Nexla is an enterprise data and an AI integration platform powered by metadata intelligence. Our core mission is to provide ready-to-use data in the hands of every user within the organization, irrespective of the skill levels, whether they are core data engineers, business technologists, or non-technical users, and meet them where they are, whether the use case is going to be for B2B operational, analytics, or GenAI purposes. Today's session is focusing primarily around the GenAI, so I'm going to be focusing specifically around the challenges that enterprises like yours are facing around GenAI, and now Nexla can help you overcome those challenges and get your GenAI projects quicker and faster into production. I would like to start with a slide from Gartner that talks about the top implementation challenges for GenAI. This was a survey that has been run across many enterprises like yours, and here is the result that came up. The interesting find about the results is it was not about finding a value-added use cases. Every enterprises had a cool idea or an innovative idea as to how they can use GenAI to improve operational efficiencies or to provide a value-added services to their customers. But the top three problems that everybody called out was, one, how do we make sure the data is accurate, reliable, but more importantly, transparent, thereby reducing hallucination. Hallucination was the biggest challenge that everybody talked about because of the problem of not being accurate or reliable. Second, how do we make sure that my LLM or the AI model can work across data that's distributed across all of these different sources that enterprises have today, whether it's on-premise, cloud, SaaS, you name those. Last, but the most important one is how do we ensure that we are not exposing a company to risk by sharing this proprietary data to train these LLM models. So as you can see here, data is the lifeline for the AI. All the challenges that we talked about by the top survey results has been focusing around data. So let me talk about how Nexla really enables enterprises to empower their AI projects with ready-to-use data. So like I said in the introduction slide, the foundation of Nexla is data products backed by metadata intelligence. So what exactly is that metadata intelligence and why is that important as it pertains to your AI projects? So at the very core, Nexla gives you an ability to connect to all of these different sources of data, whether it could be your file, your SaaS applications, APIs, databases, data warehouses, you name those. Upon connecting, what Nexla builds is a data product, which is nothing but a virtual representation of your data as it resides into those particular systems. These data products are empowered with metadata intelligence, which is a key foundation for your GenAI projects. So what exactly is this metadata intelligence, right? What's connecting to any of these different sources of data sets? Nexla provides you with a detailed analysis of what exactly does this data contain and the attributes associated with it. For example, the schemas, it shows you a sample data sets coming with it, data characteristics, description. So thereby allowing you to have a complete educated knowledge about the data before you can start working with it. At the end of the day, one of the primary reasons as to why any AI project starts hallucinating, it's not just because it does not have the data. People are finding ways to get the data to AI, but it's the context about the data that's missing. Because of the lack of the context is where the AI project starts hallucinating. This is where Nexla really helps enterprises to build that ready-to-use data or AI-ready data with the help of metadata intelligence. So once you connect, you have all the different information that is required to feed the AI. And by the way, Nexla gives you this metadata intelligence across all your data sources, which could be any system, any format, or velocity that's coming in place. Taking it a step further, now that we have understood the data, the metadata has been built, this is where Nexla provides a solution to help build an advanced RAG framework to help you ingest the data. So coming from top to bottom, if you can follow my screen, you have your data sets coming in from different sources. It could be your structured document or unstructured document. And I'm going to show that shortly in a demo where we can ingest all this data. We have a patented chunking mechanism, which I'm going to show you shortly, which allows you to embed and put them into a vector database of your choice. Output is a data product. We also enrich those data products by bringing in additional context of the data, which could be your SaaS applications or APIs or any other data sources, which is then being curated to have an AI-ready data in place. So now as the user starts querying, Nexla, as part of the advanced RAG framework, allows you to understand the intent, rewrite those queries, classify them, look up for those data products that match it. So the key thing, as I said, is it's not just about the data, it's about finding where the data resides. Because of the metadata intelligence that I talked about, Nexla is able to figure out which data product has that particular information and where it should go and pull those information from. So it's a zero copy, no data resides in Nexla. The data resides at the source, but at the runtime, we can go and pull those information, up-to-date, latest information, and provide those responses back. So now that the query classification has happened, based on the results coming in, Nexla, as part of our advanced RAG framework, allows you to re-rank those responses, create additional things, enrich your responses, sending it to a LLM or model of your choice, and finally generating the responses back to them. So all of this that I talked about is typically what an enterprises have to go through to build from scratch and get this. Nexla accelerates all of these advanced RAG pipeline with a simplified workflow that you can get started with and getting your GenAI projects up and running. And I'm going to show this to you in a demo in the next 30 seconds or less. So now that I've shown you this, let's talk two customer case studies at a high level as to some of the challenges that they faced and how Nexla has enabled them to accelerate on their generative AI journey. This was a customer who focuses around the portfolio management. So their main requirement was today, as you know, with you all having investments or money invested in various firms, you need to call up that company to figure out how things are working, the performance of your assets, and so on. Today, they have been spending a lot of time with manual investors joining on the call and providing it. They wanted to provide a self-service experience to their customers where they can come in, log in, and ask those information in a completely self-service way. But the biggest challenge they had was, one, they had a very limited in-house GenAI expertise. But the biggest challenge was all the data that was required was scattered across millions of documents across distributed sources. So they wanted a solution which can provide a very simple and a self-service way. So the exact RAG architecture that I showed you earlier with a simplified workflow was implemented by this portfolio management company where Nexla enabled them to ingest data from all these different sources, use vector embeddings for those unstructured documents, use APIs for structured documents, merge them together as part of the RAG, and be able to provide answers to those questions in real time. The end results being they were able to implement this project in weeks without having extensive expertise in-house and also be able to leverage all the knowledge bases that was scattered across millions of documents in place. The second use case was around an insurance company, basically a very similar but a different problem where today they had a lot of time onboarding different partners. So as you can know with any insurance claims, as people sending claims, they come in different formats because different companies are involved as you start submitting claims. So they were spending a lot of time in onboarding the partners. Forget getting those GenAI, getting those onboarding itself was taking a lot of time. Thereafter, they wanted to provide that self-service AI capabilities to the underwriters, to the business analysts, where they can start asking questions about claims so they can make an educated decision as they were writing underwriting policies and so on. So the solution, Nexla, again, came in with the advanced RAG framework built in with that integration of metadata intelligence that allowed them to quickly onboard partners, converting them into canonical structures, and finally meeting them where they are, whether it's for analytics or GenAI purposes. So with that, let's jump into a quick demo and walk through how Nexla really provides a platform step by step. In the next 10 to 12 minutes, you're going to see the entire platform and how Nexla enables you to build with it. So at the core, as I said, Nexla gives you the ability to connect to all the different applications available out in the enterprises. Nexla provides a rich set of connectors. As you can see, and keep scrolling, we provide hundreds and hundreds of connectors to help you connect with it. So for simplicity, in this case, let's use Salesforce as one of your structured document, and we'll use some PDF for unstructured processing and see how Nexla RAC framework can combine all these records together to provide that intelligence that we talked about. So I'm going to hit search for Salesforce, and you can see Nexla provides out-of-the-box connectors for different Salesforce application. This is true for any SaaS applications available out in the market. So upon clicking on Salesforce, Nexla says, okay, here are all the objects that are available for you to start working with. So these connectors are intelligent connectors that one doesn't have to know about how those underlying application works at the domain. It'll automatically connect to the given application and starts sending out all the different objects that's involved inside it. So I can select account and I hit next. Upon clicking next, Nexla provides you with that next set that I talked about, or the data product. So let's see that live in action. I'm going to hit activate. Upon clicking activate, what's happening is Nexla is scanning that sources. As part of the scanning, it builds the data product. So you can see live, just upon activating a particular connector, a data product got generated. I can click on it to see all the metadata intelligence, which I talked about during the slide. It shows me all the fields coming in from that particular application. It shows me a sample data sets. It shows me the data types. This is the metadata intelligence that I'm talking about. So when you're using a GenAI, when you ask a question, how do you ensure that you need to go to the right system to pull in the right information? It's based on this metadata. On a click of a button, Nexla gives you the ability to register it to many of the popular data cataloging solutions like Calibra, Alation, Data World, or even expose it as an API. Again, since that's not the focus of this session, let's focus specifically around the metadata and how can Nexla really use those metadata to help you build your GenAI projects in place. The very first thing is, while there are a lot of low-code, no-code platforms available out in the market today, Nexla is going up a step further. We provide you with a conversational-driven experience platform. So with any low-code, no-code, you still have to learn the technology or the platform to understand how things are. You're going to be productive or successful to the extent you learn that particular platform. And that's where a lot of time and efforts are being spent. Nexla talked through this, understood this, and said, why don't we just make this a conversational driven? So let's see this in action. I can simply hit the generate button. There is a chat interface. This is what we call as Nova, Nexla's orchestrated versatile agent, where now you can have conversations with the platform to get the information that you're looking for. So I can simply say, describe all fields in this data product. I can say data product, data set, next sets, different names. Nexla automatically understands those. What's happening behind the scenes is it's going and looking into all the sample data sets, the fields that's coming up with it, the metadata, the attributes, and it's going to give us a detailed description of what each of those fields are. So as you can see, I did not have a domain knowledge. I did not know what these fields are. Nexla is automatically generating all of those fields and the detailed information for you. This is the key foundation as you're building advanced orchestrations or your RAG pipelines for you to be able to query information. One thing that I wanted to quickly highlight is when you look into the field called site, we would think that this is something called as a website. But based on the data set that Nexla parsed and analyzed, it figured out, hey, that's potentially an email string and it's nothing to do with the website. And you can see this when I click on the view data. By the way, even without processing, by just connecting to it, I'm now able to get all the sample data set, and I can see that the site field had got all the email addresses, and Nexla automatically called it as an email string in place. So this is how Nexla provides you with a very quick and easy way to build the metadata layer. This is true for any applications, whether it's coming from files, structured data, unstructured data, and get you the metadata that your GenAI can start using it further. Now, while Nexla gave you the ability to connect, you just don't want all the data to be made available for your GenAI consumption, right? Again, that's where the whole leaking aspect comes in. You want to put in some sort of a governance and control. But in addition to the other governance aspect, let's talk about the data. You don't want all the data to be exposed. You want only specific set of data. So when I start looking into my data sets, you can see I have two different types of data coming in. There is accounts, which are some of these accounts are customers. Some of these accounts are prospects. So let's say I want to create two additional pipelines or two additional data products, one for customer and one for prospect, so that I can make one of those available to the GenAI so that some users would be able to access prospect data, some users would be able to access account data, internal versus external. Now, while Nexla gives you the ability to hit, transform, and extract and filter those record sets, again, we drink our own food. While we support AI projects, there is AI natively inside the platform. So I can simply have a conversation with Nexla by saying, create two data products. The first should have all accounts. Again, I'm doing it live, of type customer direct, and another with type prospect. So by simply giving this requirement in a simple natural language way, Nexla is able to parse it. Again, metadata coming in, it figured out that, hey, it's the type attribute that has got this customer direct and the prospect data. It's asking me for confirmation. Now I could certainly go ahead and update it if the information is not right. But what you're going to see in a fraction of seconds, two new data products are going to be created, filtering the records by prospect and customers, which I'm then going to make it available for my downstream consumption. So as you can see, the first data product just got created for the customer. When I click on it, by the way, Nexla has automatically said what rules that it followed. So if tomorrow somebody were to come in and see, hey, what logic was applied, why was it being done, all the description is provided to you. And in this case, you can see it is all customer data that has been isolated from this. And while the other one gets built, there you go, quick, the prospect data is now being put inside. So this is how quick and easy Nexla enables you to build pipelines and build orchestrations inside the platform. Now from here, I have the ability to send it to a destination, which again shows you a list of all the applications that you want to connect to. That comes under your integration bucket. But for us, we are talking about how do you make this available for GenAI consumption. By default, any data product that you build inside Nexla is automatically made AI ready. So now I can go to my RAG workflow or my chatbots and start having conversations with this data product. And I'm going to show this to you shortly. So to summarize, we just saw how Nexla quickly was able to connect to any data sources. Upon connecting, build a metadata layer, a data product backed by metadata intelligence, which gave you an insight about all the fields, the structure, the sample data sets, schemas. So you now have an educated knowledge about the data. You can use a conversational interface to filter, do advanced orchestrations to make the data ready, specific data that's required for it. And once done, the data is now ready for consumption. By the way, from a governance standpoint, which I won't get inside the detail, Nexla gives you the ability to add these data products into a marketplace. So where your users, whether internal or external, can come in and search for these data products and start subscribing to them with permissions and other governance policies that can be applied on top of it. So now that I've shown you this, I've also built a bunch of other pipelines because as part of my RAG pipeline, I need data from a bunch of different sources. So I showcased you the Salesforce. Very similar way, I connected to a service now where I'm putting all the ticket information in place. Simple. I connect, next set is created. I do some lightweight transformation that's needed via conversational. The data product is now made available for GenAI purposes. Similar thing, it comes to unstructured data. That's one of the big challenges that enterprises face today. Saying, Ravi, structured data is good. Yes, it's easy, but the big challenge for us is unstructured data. PDFs. How do I go about parsing those, chunking those? There's a lot of time being spent around those. This is where Nexla has developed a next generation chunking technology where you can simply upload a PDF document. We have vision model put inside it. So as you can see, I've just uploaded a particular document. I say chunk data, and I'm going to open it in a new tab so you can see how Nexla actually parses that PDF or unstructured document. It kinds of scans the whole document using vision model to figure out what kind of a document is it. Is it a claims? Is it an investment? Is it physical scanned reports of some health provider? It automatically uses a vision model to figure those information. Once it identifies that, it then uses the AI model internally to figure out what aspects of data should I be looking into. What chunks of data needs to be grouped together? So as you can see, it automatically highlighted in the red and blue green arrows to showcase you the different components of the unstructured document and the grouping strategies that has been put in. By the way, you don't have to do anything. We provide an auto chunking based on the document that is being provided with vision models being applied on top of it. Nexla automatically creates a markdown and the respective chunks for you to be able to ingest it into your vector databases or other things of your choice. So now that I've done this, you can see that I've built a simple process that ingests the document. A data product is created for me. This data product leverages the intelligence that I just talked about, which uses the auto chunking to figure out the different chunks and finally get the data uploaded into your vector database of choice. In this case, I'm using Pinecone, but Nexla provides you with support for variety of different vector databases available out in the market. So this is how quick and easy. Exactly the same way, we also allow you to connect to unstructured data. Now, it is just not limited to a PDF document. We can even scan images, text inside those images. So that's where the vision model comes in, which really helps you understand what this unstructured document is about and use that intelligence to figure out the attributes and the data sets that we need to pull things out. So now that I've shown you, we also take it a step further. While we absolutely can help you chunk unstructured documents into a vectors databases, we also give you the ability to ingest an unstructured document and convert that unstructured document into a structured document in place. So as an example, in this case, I consumed a sample, a claim PDF document. A data product got generated, which is auto-generated. And now when I click on the view details, if I look into the attributes, by the way, you will see, again, it's live. So just take a couple of seconds. You will see that we would have converted the whole unstructured document by parsing the fields using the technology that I talked to you about and convert it into a structured format. So now you have the flexibility to either use a vector-based approach of chunking and putting or converting an unstructured document into a structured document and start leveraging it as part of your process. Nexla gives you the flexibility to do both. So now that I've shown you how quick it is easy to connect to applications, process structured, unstructured data, do lightweight transformation with zero coding conversational driven interfaces, the data products are now ready. I can now use those data products in my GenAI interfaces to start consuming those data from them. So in this case, what I'm going to do is I've added the data product, which we just created from Salesforce. And now I can start asking questions. By the way, the Nexla gives you the ability to use multiple different models, LLM models, to test your outputs. By the way, no data is being sent. So when you ask questions inside the Nexla platform, we dynamically determine, based on the intent, where should these requests be sent to? That's where we go to those data products and ask it. So let's see this in action. I'm going to say something like, show me the details on account Cypress Village as an example. You will now see that it's going to go live. By the way, I've not transferred any of these data to a data lakes or data warehouse and then applying GenAI on top of it. Rather, I'm going live to these data products. There you go. The information is coming in live. And it also tells me where exactly that information is coming from. So it's coming live from that backend sources. I can select more than one models. So Nexla gives you a playground, because one of the other challenges that I've heard from customers is, hey, which model should I use before I can start implementing things? Nexla gives you the flexibility to select multiple models as part of your testing grounds or as part of your sandbox. So you can select more than one and see the results coming through. So let's say I add another data product over here. I'm going to call this as tickets. Now, this was one of the things that we showed earlier as part of my process. So I select that data product gets added. Now I can start having conversation by saying, show me all tickets opened for account Cypress Village. You will now see that it's going to go live to ServiceNow based on the intent and pulling information from Salesforce and ServiceNow. So if you remember the diagram where I said, hey, Nexla gives you the ability not just to bring all those data products, but really marry all those data products and get you the contextual response. So you can see now all those responses are coming back in place, right? It says here are all the tickets that has been opened. Now, when I look into my tickets, a lot of issues have been talking about cracked windows. So I also parse a PDF document, which I showed you of processing unstructured data. And now I can add that particular data product as well. So I'm just going to add a magazine data product. By the way, this is a data product created from an unstructured document in place. And I can start asking questions like, show me vendors who can help with window repairs. And now it's going to go live to the PDF document. Again, in this case, would be to a vector databases and be able to extract the relevant chunk. But the key part is, as I said, it's not just about storing. How do you chunk the data so that efficient retrieval can be honored in place? With our next generation solution with the vision models, we are able to give you a better way of chunking and putting a contextual response. And by the way, here is all the things that came in. So this is how quick and easy it is to build and get your GenAI projects with the chatbots put in place. And by the way, this interface that I showed you is also exposed as an API, which you can easily extend it to your chatbots, to your websites, and provide this experience to the customers. Again, 0 line of code, advanced RAG pipelines built for you, creating a data products is now making your data AI ready. And now you can start having conversations with the platform. Now, one question that may be lingering in your mind is, does this do everything? Do I not do it? Then how about some domain specific information? How does Nexla know about it? Why we give you a 98% acceleration, that 2% is still going to be there in terms of your domain specific things. Like, for example, if somebody were to ask, show me the EPS for this particular thing. What does EPS mean? In a financial world, it could be an earnings per share, but in healthcare world, it could differ something else. This is where Nexla gives you the ability for you to even enhance those pipelines. As you can see, in addition to all the different kinds of flows that Nexla provides as part of the converged integration platform, we also have something called as a RAG flow that you can build. This is in extension to what I just showed you earlier, where now you have the ability to provide your own query enrichment prompts. You can provide rewritings where you can provide additional context that you want to enrich the queries. You can select the data products that you have built in this case. So I've just selected a few of those data products that I want to be made available. I can provide a context enricher. So as responses are coming back, you can provide those additional enrichments to your models to say, these are the additional information that I want to add on top of it by providing those prompts. And finally, you can add your LLM providers of your choice, which I showcased you earlier in place. So to summarize, the key takeaways of what we saw from today's session. Nexla provides you with the unified data foundation for GenAI. Data is absolutely the must. You don't have to worry about moving the data, because once you are in the business of moving data to a warehouse or a data lakes, you're always working on a copies of data, and enterprises need real time. They need ability to connect to all these disparate systems, different variety, velocity of sources. Nexla provides you with the unified data foundation for your GenAI projects. Second, the most important piece is the metadata intelligence for your smarter AI. The reasons why AI hallucinate, it's not because they don't have the data, they don't have the context about the data. With the help of metadata intelligence layer, Nexla helps you build that context, thereby ensuring your AI hallucinates lesser. Lastly, is the low code and a scalable AI workflows. As you can saw, by simply having a conversation with a platform, you can now build your workflows much quicker and faster to help you get your GenAI projects into production. So that was a quick presentation and a demo of the Nexla platform. I think it's now the time to take on some questions and see if I can help answer them. I know we are right on time, but I'll take a few questions and see if we can help answer those, right? And for those which I'm not able to answer, please send them my way. I will make sure to respond them to you via email, or we can reach out directly. My email address is ravi.krishnan@nexla.com, or you can reach out to our website as well to go with it. So I see a lot of questions coming in. So let's take a couple of them. So the first question that I see coming up is, how do your customers deal with hallucination? That's a great question. And I think we covered that during the session, but thanks for bringing this up. the reason why hallucination happens, like I talked before, is because of two things. One, you don't have the data. Second is, even if you have the data, you don't have the context about the data. It's the context, or it's the missing context that really causes the hallucination with any of your AI projects. The way Nexla solves that hallucination problem is by really providing the context. So the metadata intelligence layer that I talked about is created immediately upon connecting to the data source. You saw how I was able to basically ask a question to say, hey, help me build a metadata layer or describe me all the fields. It gave you all this required information. That's how we are going to reduce hallucination and giving you 98% accuracy. Now, I'm not going to say 100% because there is always going to be a chance, but this is how we can reduce your hallucination because of the context, not just context from one data product, but context from multiple data products and gluing them together so you're enriching your responses in place. Hope that answered your question. Please send me additional ones. Happy to respond those to you. Wow, there are a lot of questions coming in. Let's pick the second one. How does Nexla extract structure from unstructured data? It's a great question. I think you guys were really paying attention to this. So in one part of the demo, I showcase you how we can help you chunk your unstructured documents, but I also talked about how we can really convert this. So that is one of the newer releases that Nexla has brought into the play, where based on the vision model, we can understand what this document is all about, right? Because once you get an insight of what this document or an image or the content is about, then it makes the model easier to figure out what kind of information should I be looking into. So that's the Nexla's patent thing. And by the way, we have also open source this. So I'd love for you all to look into it. I'll send the link for that, where we have an ability to scan it using the vision model. Based on that, we can scan each one of those blocks and help you get converted into those structured documents. So again, please feel free to sign up for the Nexla trial. It is available where you can connect to an unstructured document and say, hey, generate a structured extraction to it, and Nexla would automatically build those for you. The next question that I see come is, what LLMs does Nexla support? Great question. So we give you the flexibility to test out your GenAI projects across multiple different LLMs, even before you make an investment or start paying for those. So as you saw in my chat interface, I showed you all the different LLM models of choice, all the way from your standard OpenAI to Google Gemini to Mistral to even the latest DeepSeek is also available as part of the platform, where you would have the ability to test your responses coming back from all of this. And by the way, as you saw from our platform demo, we don't send any data, right? The data still resides. We go to talk to those data products, get the responses back, curated. We just use the LLM to basically enrich or curate those responses to get back to it. I'll just take one last question since we are right on time, team, but I promise to get back to you all with other responses to the questions right after this email. The last one, can Nexla be deployed on premise? Absolutely. Security is very important to us. While we do have all the required certifications around PCI, HIPAA, and other things, Nexla provides 3 different deployment options. This can be a completely SaaS offering. You could have Nexla completely be deployed behind your firewall in your protected zone, or you can have a hybrid installation where the control plane resides on the cloud and your runtime plane resides on-premise. So we give you the flexibility to support your business security and compliance needs in place. So with that, we are right on time. Wanted to thank your team once again for taking time to join this session. Feel free to send me questions. I promise to respond back to all the other questions that are on the queue, and looking forward to connecting and working with you all. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.